Rab, how are you?
Good man, how's things?
Yeah, all good, mate. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, do you want me to use headphones?
No, you're completely fine like that. Yeah, so as long as you can hear me, yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Um,
How you
Sweet.
doing? You okay?
Yeah, all good. Yeah. So yeah, Rab, this is a little small project I've been working on. I've been interviewing mainly new bands that I've got an interest in 21, just through the lockdown, really. And then I cottoned on to your podcast the other day. It was mainly focusing on, well, the other side of things, obviously being in a band for the last 10, 15 years. So I thought it'd be beneficial, really, for new bands to maybe have a little listen as well. So yeah,
Cool.
thanks a lot for your time today, mate.
Don't be silly, mate. You're taking me away from doing other stuff I don't want to do anyway, so it's all good.
Sweet. Do you mind it? Can we, with the guests so far, I've been going right back to the beginning. So is it okay to follow that same sort of format?
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Sweet. So growing up, who were like your main musical influences and stuff like that? Who first turned you into music? And was it?
So I guess when I was growing up, I kind of listened to what my mum was listening to, and that was things like Simply Red and Whitesnake and the fucking Eagles and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the first time I kind of heard something that kind of like sparked something, I was 15 and I saw Oasis on Top of the Pops.
Okay, nice one.
And they were doing Don't Look Back in Anger and that. I don't know why. It was just like a feeling. It was like there was something. I was like, this feels quite exciting.
Definitely.
And then I got the album, and then it kind of just grew from there. And then I was like, I want a guitar. My mum was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I want to learn to play guitar." And like nobody learns to play instruments in my family. It was like, also I thought, but James was doing it at the same time.
Okay.
And it just kind of grew from there.
Nice one. And well, so obviously quite a young age when you first picked up the guitar, then, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started when I was about 14, 15.
Okay,
yeah, I think James was a wee bit older. James was about 18, 19, so he was quite late to it and songwriting and stuff like that, yeah.
And with Glasvegas, like the band, obviously, from an outside point of view, many people might just think 2008 you dropped the album and that was it, like an overnight success. But realistically, it was a long old haul before that, wasn't it?
It was it was a slog. It probably wasn't as bad as some people. I mean, we started Glasvegas in about 2004.
Okay, yeah.
So there was like 4 years of trying to find your sound and trying to teach a drummer to play drums who didn't want to play drums and couldn't play drums and stuff like that. And it was about 2006, I think, and James had written most of the first album. We had like Flowers and Football Tops and Daddy's Gone and Ghost Square Gone. We bought a transit van. We put a mattress in the back. We all quit our jobs. We all took out a bank loan each, and we were like, let's give it a year and just kind of see what happens. And then that was kind of 2007. We took the loan out, and then within about 6 months, we'd signed with Columbia.
Okay, big,
so
yeah.
There was the countless falling asleep in the back of a van and an amp falling on you. And you know, I mean, we lived in a transit van for about a year.
Jeez. Do you remember your first official gig as Glasvegas as a group?
Do you know what I do? And it was in a place called Nice and Sleazy's in Glasgow.
Okay.
And I remember everybody just like there wasn't many people that see us, but I just remember people being like, "You're all really shit." Like James was singing in a Scottish accent, which just nobody did then.
Yeah.
It was that kind of mid transatlantic kind of accent, and people were just like, you know, you're like these songs you're singing about, like your dad's gone and stuff, and people just didn't really get it.
Yeah.
So being the kind of group of people we were like, well, fuck it, we'll just if it's not happening in Glasgow just now, let's just see where else it's going to happen. So that's when we started touring up and down. We were playing in tiny wee clubs in like Wakefield and like mad random places, and it was like we would keep going back and they would give us petrol money. So it would, the first time we'd go, there'd be 2 people there, the next time there'd be 3, and then that kind of culminated in 2007, 2008, and we sold out a 30-date UK tour. Without a record deal or without anything. And that was purely just through hard work. That was purely just through our managers being like, keep going out and doing gigs, you know, good things are going to happen. And it did. So
nice one. Yeah, I mean, the first time I watched you guys, probably a little bit later on than that, it was Reading 2009, and you're in the tent. It was early evening. Don't know if you remember it, and the tent was just overflowed out the side. It was like, it was just fucking epic, man. It was class.
do you know? Do you know what I remember about that? That was that during the day, because we
Yeah,
did Reading.
yeah, you had like a good little spell of like bands that you're probably on about 6 o'clock, you know, and maybe
Right, so like,
7
do
o'clock.
you know why I remember that so much? Right, that was like one of those moments being in the band where I felt like things changed a wee bit when we did
Okay.
that gig, because
Yeah.
I remember we came off, and for like 5 or 10 minutes after it, people kept singing "Daddy's Gone."
Yeah.
Like they were still singing it once we left the stage, and I remember like everybody for the record label were there, and they were like, "This is fucking weird." Like,
Yeah.
you know, this doesn't happen. And that's when I remember thinking that's quite like maybe people actually like us.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think there was a time, or that kind of leads on to my next question a bit. So yeah, I was like, do you think there was a time where you think, like when you set out in a band, it's obviously like to enjoy it and have good fun with your mates and that, isn't it?
yeah.
But was there a point in time where you thought like, fuck, this is it? Like we're kind of like not made it, but like, you know what I mean? Is
Do you
there?
know what? See what you said there. Not many people actually say that's the point of being in a band. It's to be with your mates, and it's
Yeah.
to be with people that you enjoy, to experience these mad fucking things that don't happen to many people. And if
Yeah.
you're not doing it with your mates and you're not doing it with a bunch of people you like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So I like that you said that, because that is the whole point of the whole thing, and I always try and get that across to people.
For sure.
But coming back to like one thing, did one thing happen? I mean, I don't think so. There was one point where James brought us a song, and at that point, I said, "We're going to get a record deal. I know we're going to get a record deal from this."
Yeah.
And it was when he played "It's My Own Cheating Heart That Makes Me Cry." So
Okay.
he had disappeared for like James used to disappear for like a month and come back with a song,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we would learn the song, and that's kind of how it went. And it disappeared at one point, and it was it was maybe 2006, I think, because
Yeah.
that was when McGee kind of got involved.
Mm.
And he'd get in the car, we picked him up for rehearsals, and he was like, "Here's a CD," and put it on in the car. And me and Paul were in the front and played the song, and it's the exact same version that's in the album, exact
Okay.
same, everything's the exact same in it. And the song finished, and he leaned in the front in between me and Paul, and he's like, "Do you think it's any good?" And me and Paul just busted laughing, and we were like, "That's fucking mad," and we just kept playing it.
Unreal.
And that
Yeah.
was the point that I was like, I think we're going to get a record deal. I don't know if we'll be big or if we'll be, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like even at that point, we had Daddy's Gone and we had all these songs, but when he brought that in, I was like, wow, that's like a different,
Yeah,
that's like
excellent.
a different thing.
Decent. Yeah, as I said before, I listened to the podcast the other day, and I kind of, yeah, I think it's really relevant at the minute, especially with the lockdown and stuff, about the mental health side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's any sort of message for new bands coming up, like, or anything the music industry could do to help new bands coming up now? I know you guys, when you were lucky enough to have Geraldine on tour with you, is that right? And a good friend of yours.
We had our own social worker.
Yeah.
Kind of look after us.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like I went back to uni a few years ago, and I've been doing loads of research into this, and it's like a really difficult one, because record companies want to make money.
Yeah.
Which is natural, right? And I know that when I signed a record deal, if somebody came to me and said, right, here's what you need to do, you need to look after yourself, you need to be healthy, you need to do exercise, I'd have told them to get the fuck. So it's a hard one. People need to make mistakes on their own, but I think there needs to be some kind of support network there for when things do go wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
And we were lucky that kind of I had like an outlet. But this comes back to the thing again that you said about being in a band with your mates, that you should be able to recognise that in each other when somebody's feeling a bit down or needs a bit of space or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really the best person to give advice to anybody, because I kind of turned the volume up to like 11 on everything that I did. We lived life like, and I'm glad that I did, and I had the best time doing it. I know that podcast probably paints things in quite a negative light, and it was tough, but it was still the best thing that I've ever done in the best period of time.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess I was just wanting to kind of highlight some of the other things that musicians had spoke to me about, and that I'd recognised in other musicians as well. And I think all these things are coming out just now, like with the thing, like people speaking about the money you're making from streaming, and you know, the precarity of not having a lot of money, and all of these things are kind of becoming a lot more relevant just now because of lockdown and stuff, as you said.
Did you think there was, so obviously you as a band you've toured with some of the greats like U2 and Kings of Leon and the rest of it. As a band coming through and you're in that support slot, did the top bands ever give you advice, like if they thought, fucking hell, these are a bit mad, like they need to kind of rein it in, or did they just let you be?
Well, we got kicked off the Kings of Leon tour because we were too mad. I've never told anybody that. So if people think Kings of Leon were mad, then we were somewhere else because, you know, we get invited to leave. So,
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? So, some people did. I mean, it was less about advice and just making sure you were okay. It was like when we were in tour with Oasis, Liam would come in the dressing room every day and say, "Have you got everything you need?"
Okay.
Like, people don't really think that about Liam, but that's the kind of guy he is. He's a big sweetheart. And it was the same with you too, with Bono. James and Bono would chat away, and even Bono's got insecurities about being a songwriter and a musician the same way everybody else does. So I guess the thing that we saw, it wasn't so much that people gave us advice, it was more that we saw that everybody is in the same boat. It doesn't matter how big you are as an artist or how small you are. And you should always treat support bands really good. Like, we were always treated really well, which was nice. So now we try and pass it on to bands that we take out on tour as well. And,
perfect. So I've heard the new song, well, the latest single from you guys. It's I'm really liking it. I've heard it a few times on Radio X. I've got it on my Spotify as well, and I've been listening to it a lot on my commute to work. Cool. Do you have what's the plans for the band going forward into like 21? Really, like, obviously. Well,
I mean, the plan was that the album was supposed to be released last year, and we had a European tour and a UK tour booked. So obviously everything's been thrown up there. So we moved the touring forward to April 2021. Now that's been moved to April 2022.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, the album's still coming out. The thing is, it's took us about 7 years to make the album, and it's ironic that coronavirus kicks in and we're ready to go. And so that's still going to get released. That's coming out April. I should really know this. April 23rd, I'm going to say. April 16th or April 23rd, it's one or the other. And then we'll do some kind of little, maybe like live stream gigs around about that. And then obviously later in the year if we can do some stuff. But James has been writing new music. So we've actually got like an EP's worth of music already like put aside for whether that's got to be an album or whatever it is. I mean, he's kind of writing all the time. So so the album will come out. We'll hopefully get to do a few wee cool things, but it's going to be next year before we can do anything. We had festivals booked for this year and stuff as well, and it's the same thing. It's I just can't see it happening. Like, do you think there's going to be gigs this year?
No, me personally, if so, maybe like December time, but I can't see it. There's no point rushing it either, is there, really? So
I think October, November, December time at the very, very early. So that's why when it came to like rebooking these gigs for like, again, I was like, do you want to do it in October? And we were like, just do it next year. Yeah. Because it's a shame people waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like.
And what's the situation with the drummer at the minute? So have you got a new drummer in? Is it the original one again, or is it someone new again?
Do you know what? With the utmost respect to Caroline, I would never let her on a stage again. Never mind let her be in the band. And do you know what? I like her as a person and all that. And I seen her recently, and she's cool and everything's cool. But like, she just hated playing the drums. So she hated playing the drums, and we forced her on stage. She used to be sick every night going on stage because she had like nerves and stuff. So it was a shame to do that to her. So drumming was never her thing. Jonna, who was the drummer after Caroline, is like so in demand in Sweden. She plays with like the Bruce Springsteen of Sweden because she's such a good drummer. So it was hard for us to even try and get her to come and do gigs with us. So I think about a year and a half ago, we had a few gigs booked, and we had a guy from Glasgow called Chris, a young guy. He brings the relative age of the band down quite a bit, which is nice. So he did a few gigs, so I think he'll be doing most of these gigs coming up. But he's a phenomenal drummer.
Oh, class. Like, that's good.
You know that way sometimes you see a drummer and you think they're quite good, and then you play gigs with them and you're like, we've won a watch. So
nice one.
So I think he'll be doing these gigs.
Cool.
Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But yeah, I can't wait to do some gigs and play some music.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what? It's even I just miss my mates. I just miss hanging out with James and Paul, and we all live that close to each other, but we've not really seen each other. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly, yeah.
It's a shame. Yeah.
It's rough times for everyone. With everyone so far, I've been doing a few quick fires as well, just to finish it off. Is that all right to fire them away?
Of course it is. See, you've got you've got a cheeky wee smile on your face. So what's coming up here?
There's a couple. Here we go. What do you prefer, being at home or on the road?
At home with my wife.
Cool. Up north or down south?
North of England.
Okay.
That's what I'll go with, yeah.
Music-wise, UK or USA?
UK.
Would you rather be on the beers or on the wine?
On the wine.
Okay. Playing arenas or festivals?
Arenas.
That's all about the money, isn't it? The Beatles or the Stones?
The Beatles.
Sweet. John Lennon or Bob Marley? It's a bit of a random.
John Lennon.
Okay. I actually don't know the answer to this one, but Rangers or Celtic?
Oh, Rangers.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, I bet you're buzzing this year then, aren't you? Definitely.
Exactly. 6 games away. 6 games away.
Exactly. What would be your go-to karaoke song?
You know, I've only ever did karaoke once, and it was Elton John and Kiki D.
Okay.
So I don't want to say that would be my go-to song, but that's the only song I've ever sung at karaoke. So
fair play. And then finally, if there was any band or artist you could watch, alive or dead, from past or present, and you get to meet them afterwards and just have a little chat, who would it be?
I'd love to have saw Queen.
Sweet.
Probably.
Yeah.
I've met a couple of the guys for the band, but I would love to have seen Queen and probably met Freddie.
Yeah.
That'd have been quite cool. Yeah.
Class. Yeah, that would have been awesome. Yeah, for sure. Rab, that's all the that's all the quick fires. I really appreciate your time today, mate. I know you're a busy guy, so yeah, I really appreciate it. Hopefully some of the new bands coming up can have a little look at this and take some little wisdom from it as well from you guys.
Cool. No worries. Anything else I can help you, just give me a shout, bud.
Sure. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot and have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, rest of your day, man. Cheers, bud. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.